some of us, when we were raised up, our parents were so tough. And guess what they told us? Staki mimba hapa.
Ndi ukweli.
Na sitaki kukuona na kijana.
Na nikuone siku moja.
Na nikuone siku moja.
Yes.
And you knew how tough your mom was. And at that young subconscious mind, fear was invested. And then as you are growing, you discover you have this sexual urge. Nobody taught you about self-control.
Yeah.
So someone introduced masturbation. So you got a way of relieving the urge without disappointing your parents. So you never get pregnant. You'll never get HIV. You'll never get STI.
Yes.
They call it safe sex. Quote unquote.
Yes.
It's safe sex.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, so you grew with that fear and you didn't want to disappoint anyone. But right now, it's no longer a fear, it's a lifestyle that keeps on robbing your dignity.
I saw kunyonga sahi, it's because I
It's
went
glorified.
and did a bit of research about it.
Yes.
Na kunyonga, it's masturbation.
Yes.
And people are openly talking about it.
And I'll tell you, people are not openly talking about it because
Yeah.
they want. It is a cry of, hey guys, help us. We are stuck. This thing is there. It's a reality in our society.
Yeah.
So,
It's a cry for help.
yes, people are putting a cool face, but deep down, guys are crashing. Because anytime a person masturbates, they feel empty. They feel a void. They feel desperate. They feel they can't face that person on the mirror. Some of these vows, they stay as legal statements in the spirit, and they can act against you. There are many people who are single, and the reality is that they have never loved anyone else more than they loved that ex. And when you look at their dealings, is that there were serious vows.
Hello, welcome to Tuko Talks. My name is Lynn Gogi. Now, few weeks ago, we hosted Veni Katoti, the lady who confessed to having slept with demons. And by demons, I mean snakes, men, and people who she could not identify in the dreams. Some of you on the comment section were like, easy vitu ziko. And some of you were like, nah, there's no way someone can sleep with demons. Spiritual husbands and spiritual wives do not exist. And some of you also recommended we look for Pastor T to come and elaborate further on this topic. So without further ado, please allow me to let my guest today introduce himself. Hello.
Wow, thank you very much.
Yes.
My name is Pastor T Mwangi.
Yeah.
I'm the resident pastor, Life Church International Limuru. I'm also the founder of Truth Mentorship Society,
Yeah.
where we do mentorship on the youths in Kenya, currently in Nairobi, Thika, Eldoret, Nakuru. Yeah, those are the towns that we are present in.
Yes.
What else? I'm a husband, a father, I'm an author, and also a TV presenter at KBC. Yes, that's the profile.
In a nutshell.
Yes. Yes.
And I know you are so many things, you know, and I just love how relatable you are to people because, as I said, when we brought that topic,
Yes.
even before we get into the conversation,
Yes.
people, you can even go in the comment section. They were like, look for Pastor T to talk to us about this topic. Why would people recommend that we get you to talk about spirit husbands, wives sleeping with demons, and masturbation?
I think there's a time I did a whole sermon on, we're calling it the Last Vegas. You know, there's Las Vegas,
Oh.
and then the Last Vegas.
Okay.
And we talked about understanding the spirit of masturbation, the anatomy of sex, the spiritual infrastructure of sex. And through that, you cannot fail to talk about soul ties, because the whole thing about spiritual husbands or wives comes under soul ties. There are 4 types of soul ties. A soul tie is a knitting of the soul. A man, what they say, a man is a triune being. Triune means you are 3 entities in one.
Yes.
You're a body, soul, and spirit. So the soul is where we have the will, the emotions, and the logic. And it is where we have the senses, the conscious, the subconscious, the memory. And when you are tied in the soulish dimension, it looks like a person has control over you. And so there are 4 ways that a person can have a soul tie. Number 1, you can have a soul tie because of conversations. When you open up some very deep truths to a person, you feel vulnerable to that person. You feel like they know you so much and there's an attachment. And this is the case of Jonathan and David. There's a soul tie just by sharing very deep-seated truths or secrets about yourself. There's a soul tie created by sexual intercourse. What people don't know that sex is more spiritual than it is physical.
Really?
Yes, because the original intention of sex was for union and communion. Sex was not a tool of pleasure. It's only that in the union and communion, sex came with a package of pleasure. So many people have used it for pleasure because they don't understand the purpose. It is sex that makes men one. So there is a union. And even in a wedding, there is the marriage and there is the wedding. The wedding is where we declare man, husband, and wife, and we eat rice. But the marriage begins during the consummation in the matrimonial bed.
Yes.
That's where souls are tied. And that's why when people are married for long, they begin to look the same. Their conversation are the same. Even their emotions, sometimes they will respond to something in the same way because there's such a union. From the concept of you sleep with a prostitute, become one with a prostitute. There's also soul ties made by vows and commitments. You know those days you're in class 6, nyuma ya choo ukiingizwa box.
Yeah.
Unasema haki ya Mungu sitaipenda mtu mwingine kama wewe. Some of us unajitoboa, mnashikanisha damu.
Yes.
You know, those were blood covenants. And some of these vows, they stay as legal statements in the spirit and they can act against you. There are many people who are single and the reality is that they have never loved anyone else more than they loved that ex. And when you look at their dealings is that there were serious vows. And that's why when we get married, we make vows because vows stand as a statement in the spirit.
Yes.
And God can ride on that statement to fight for your marriage. Demons can ride on that statement to fight.
Break.
Also to fight you in the walk of marriage. Now the final one is called demonic soul ties. And this is now the visitation of these spirits that come in dreams. The first thing I really feel, these are very delicate topic, we can't rush.
Yes.
So we need to begin with definitions.
Okay.
So what is a demon?
Exactly.
Yes, what is a demon? A demon is a disembodied spirit. So demons are spirit. The origin of demons, they come from the fallen angels. You remember in the Bible narration, a third of the angels fell. So a third of that entity is what forms the demonic world. So the demonic world is the fallen dimension of the angelic, and they have no bodies. So these are disembodied spirits. And demons are not legal on earth until someone partners with them. They have no legal ground.
Wow.
Their access on earth is through partnerships. And that's why you'll hear people talk about altars. Someone must have invoked them for them to have access. And there are levels whereby these demons are legal. Their operation is not illegal, it is legal. And even as we look at this, you know, the incubus, succubus, you'll discover it's not something that just happens. There must be a spiritual gateway. When we look in Matthew 16, the Bible says that I will give you the keys of the kingdom, and whatever you and you know, it says, upon this rock I'll build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail. So there are gates, there are openings which can spiritually we call them portals. A portal is a spiritual gate that connects the physical world with the spiritual world, and this is the what do I call it? It is the genesis of all demonic activities generally. If you come from a home where people involved in witchcraft, by the virtue of them raising a sacrifice, enchantment, and invoking demons, they have opened a door in that family for demonic attack. And some of those demons are genuine.
Yes.
So in the demonic realm, we need to understand that that realm is a product of ranks. It's a product of ranks. There are many demons mentioned in the Bible. There's a whole study in theology called demonology. It is a real statement.
I'm getting schooled here today.
and
Yeah.
it is such a wide topic. It's such a wide topic. The Bible, of course, majors on the victory of Calvary and the supremacy of Christ and the power that is above the demonic. But when you take time to study demonology, which becomes even the foundation of understanding the genesis of witchcraft and how the occultic world operates, you will understand that demons are very organized. That kingdom is not in chaos. Even Jesus said the kingdom divided will collapse in Mark 5. So the kingdom is not divided. and they operate under principalities. And what the occultic and the witch world has done is that they have the 7 princes of hell. They have their 7 princes of hell. And these princes have different assignments. You know, like what is in the Bible, we have the Leviathan spirit. The Leviathan spirit is the spirit of lies. So right now you have a court case. I can invoke the Leviathan and the lies will begin to go through the courtroom and you get your verdict.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
there's also the Behemoth, the spirit. These are spirit. It's a territorial. This is where now you have bodies that control the globe. It's from the Behemoth dimension. This is a global level of demonic engagement. We also have Belial. Belial is a demon. It's mentioned in the Bible, but people bypass it. We have Apollyon. Apollyon is there in the Bible. And then we have Asmodee. Asmodee is connected with relationships. It's Asmodee or Asmodeus. This one is connected with relationship. The success and the breakage of marriages. That's why you'll hear people going to a witch to get powers, to get a husband.
Yes.
What they invoke at that level is the Asmodeus demon. There are people who go to a witch and say, we want this marriage dead. And so what will they do? They will go and invoke the Asmodeus demon. So this is the demon in charge of relationships. And under this chief demon, there are demons like foot soldiers under it. And this is where now we get the entity of the spiritual husbands and spiritual wives, which in Greek, because they are given the Greek names, they are called the incubus and the succubus. The incubus is the male version of this demon. It has a male infrastructure. The succubus is the female version of this demon.
Okay.
I've met that retaliation of where, what do you mean? You sleep with demons.
Exactly. What? Yeah.
Yes, and the reality is there's a city called Ouagadougou.
What?
Ouagadougou.
Ouagadougou.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a capital city. I don't know for which nation.
Okay.
You see, you don't know about it.
Yes.
But that does not mean it does not exist.
But does it exist?
Yes, it exists.
Okay.
So the fact that you have not experienced or encountered
Does not mean.
does not mean it does not exist. This is not mysticism. This is real.
So in short,
Yes.
spirit husbands and spirit wives are there.
Yes. And I'll give a very simple illustration.
Yes.
I've had dreams in my life. I've dreamt stealing the bank. And I tell you, we stole a lot of money in a dream. And I woke up very poor. There was not even a shilling in my pocket. I dreamt going to Bashes where we were eating. And I tell you, I ate, but I woke up very hungry. But how comes that any time you dream having sex, when you wake up in the morning, there's evidence, there's ejaculation. You could really tell something has happened.
Yes.
What people don't know is that dreams are gates of spiritual interaction.
Wow.
And it's there in the Bible. Solomon slept as an ordinary man. He woke up as a wise king. The interaction happened in a dream. The whole visitation of Solomon was in a dream. The Lord came in a dream. God is a spirit and asked him, what do you want? And he said, I want wisdom. The man answered. He received wisdom in a dream. So that tells you we can have transactions in dreams. So not every dream is a dream. Some dreams are real transactions. And it takes a level of spiritual engagement for you to be attacked at that level of dreams. And it's a disadvantage because in a dream, you are in your subconscious state. So you are not in your full consciousness.
Yes.
So it is an unfair attack. And I sit here telling you, I'm a pastor and I've had those attacks of seeing images of ladies
Beautiful
coming.
women.
Yes. And I'll even give a very personal story.
Yeah.
And before I give that story, I'll attach it with the gates that open. I told you demons don't just come. There must be a gate.
Invoke.
The
Yes.
gates that open the attack of these incubus and succubus. The first one is the gate of fornication, sex before marriage. It opens a demonic portal for the attack, a legal attack of these demons. Number 2 is pornography. Pornography is a very vast topic because what pornography does, when I used to watch porn when I was a young boy, there are some introductions that will come and I will see things like demons with horns and they will call it the devil's kitchen. And I didn't know. So when I got born again, I understood. This thing is actually manufactured from hell. And what happens in the Bible, The scripture says that your eyes are the gate to your soul. So the moment you enter on internet, Google pornography, guess what? You are the one going where the demons are.
They are not
So
coming to you.
they are not coming to you.
You are going to the demons.
Yes, when and there.
Eh.
So as they come, they are legal. And that's why pornography becomes a very major gate. And most of the people who watch porn will always end up in masturbation. Because automatically you get turned
yes,
on. You just invited it. You just invited the demon. And so it becomes a pattern. I have to watch porn and then I have to masturbate. So what happens is that now the demon begins to give you those desires of, hey, watch, then masturbate. So it becomes a pattern. So pornography also opens that portal of it.
Yes.
There's also the place of witchcraft. You know, when people consult these witches, they open a portal of a whole demonic world. There's a place of molestation. When people are abused sexually when they are young, that door is open. Molestation or even sexual abuse, it opens, because anytime you're molested, there is a level of bitterness and unforgiveness that comes, and that opens that door. There's the place of fear. Fear is the cause of unbelief. There's the place of bitterness and unforgiveness. It opens that door. There's also a place of now spiritual warfare. Now that's where the church comes in. I tell you, there are people in church, born again, tongue speaking, fiery, but they've had these encounters. Because when you engage in spiritual warfare, you are opening your spirit to the realms of the spirit. And so anything can attack you, especially when you're taking long days of fasting. Because on this day, I was taking a 21-day of fast. And on the 20th day, a female-like entity showed up in a dream, naked. And this one looked like my wife. And I'm talking about a recent thing. It looked like my wife, but this image was dark. And literally, I felt like someone woke me up. And I could, when I woke up is when I woke up to the realization and I said, what?
Wow.
So I called my spiritual mom and she told me, these are attacks to cut you from prayer. It's like a defilement in that level. That's why I'm saying it's a very high-ranking kind of attack. It's not the ordinary attacks. These are very high-ranking level of attack. So many, that's why there are people who pray for many years, for many days, and boom, this attack happens because of spiritual warfare. Because anytime you're spiritually, you pour your spiritual self out and you become very empty and vulnerable. There's also the place of carnality. Carnality is whereby, you know, you're just in the flesh, conversation, the music and all that, and even atmospheres. Some of the music are so demonic. And you know, they don't hide it. It's 100%. You're just listening to the voice of demons. And so it opens all this. So these demons always take advantage of a broken hedge. It's a broken hedge. And some people are innocent because, like, there's a lady I met who grew up in bitterness because she came from a family where the father was abusive. And her story was, it's like there was a demon that would visit her in dreams. And as she grew, the demon grew. And she lost her virginity in a dream through this demon. So ideally, they come, and most of the encounters is not sex. It's like rape. It's like they force themselves to you. So it looks like it is rape. And the main assignment of this demon is to release a spirit of lust. Every demonic assignment is to kill, to destroy, and, you know, to steal. So the main assignment for this particular demon is to release lust. Now, lust is an appetite, sexual, that wants to be met in an illegal way. That's why when people sleep with these demons, the next thing they'll find themselves in perversion, or the next thing they'll find themselves in masturbation, because it comes to conceive the spirit of lust. The principle of sex is that anytime there is intercourse, something is supposed to be conceived. So the principle of this spiritual level of sex is that it's coming to conceive something in you, and that's the spirit of lust. And this is not something you can say that you prayed and it ended, because they recur. Oh,
it's like an addiction.
Not even an addiction, it's an attack.
It's an attack.
Yeah, and the way to understand attack is taking the picture of Mandamano. You know when guys were doing the maandamano,
Yeah.
the police will come,
Haki yetu.
release tear gas, guys will disperse,
Yeah.
then unasikia wamegather Kamukunji.
Yes.
Wameanza tena fresh.
Yeah.
That's the life of demons. When you praise, like you release a tear gas, so they scatter temporarily, then unasikia saizi zinatoka Uhuru Park, zinarudi.
Yeah.
That's why we have to sustain a culture of prayer. You don't just pray once and think, I prayed, it's over. You have to sustain a culture of prayer and sustain a culture of living right. Purity. You have to sustain it. There's a time I was in Meru and I had gone for mission. I'd driven the whole night. And I tell you, as I was sleeping, I felt literally something has gotten into the bed. And I felt this is someone's leg. And I struggled, you know, and I broke through and I said, Jesus. Then something came in my spirit. And I discovered, one, I'm sleeping in a very strange lodging. So I don't know the kind of dealings that happen here. So I prayed. And that's why sometimes you get in hotel rooms and you begin to pray and say, Lord, I dedicate this house. Tonight I'm sleeping under the covering. Because you don't know the dealings of that particular house.
Yeah.
You might become a victim because some of those rooms, people have been raped there, all manner. So you enter in a room and you find it's demonic in nature. So these things are there.
Yeah.
For those who have never experienced, may God bless them. Oh, they are loved by Jesus. And that should not be a ground to make them criticize them that have experienced. Because you can imagine if you were molested when you are young, a gate was opened that you didn't wish to open.
Exactly.
So already you're facing a battle that criticizing or making it look like, oh, you guys, what are you trying to say?
Yeah.
Because I've heard it on the pulpit. I've heard people say, what are you talking about, spiritual demons? This thing is nonsense. And I'm like, if you've never experienced it, you may not understand it. But there's someone who has experienced it and they're asking, how do I get out?
Yes.
And so if you're the pastor who feels it is nonsense, you are not helping this person. What happens is that these demons now make a claim over you. But this claim has a background. That's why I said, for me, you have to locate which door was open before you deal.
Because a door must have been opened.
Yes, a door must have been
before
opened.
you become a victim.
Yes, I say demons are illegal on earth.
Yeah.
They are illegal in your life. So you must ask yourself, which door?
Yes.
Which door was open for this? Because unless the door is closed, it will be in vain.
Yeah.
And there are those that need someone to pray with you to close the door. You know, like in the case of molestation. But if you're in pornography, you need what I call participatory deliverance. You know, there are people, you can't deliver them until they participate.
Until
They must say, I'm willing.
Delivered.
Yes, I'm willing. Pasi
Yeah.
niko willing
Yeah.
kuenda kudelete maufala zote, niko willing kununua kabambe, niko willing. Because prayer will give you the strength to overcome, but you must act to overcome. So prayer is like an empowerment that will give you the power to overcome. But if still uko na kabambe,
Yeah.
na uko na smartphone, na usiku uko hapo uko na internet,
Yeah.
na all the things umembo wacha ujawacha, I tell you, you'll still go back to the same level.
Okay, let me ask Pastor T.
Yes.
Assuming I'm dealing with spirit husbands and spirit wives, apart from sex and the whole masturbation, how else do I know I am dealing with these people?
Yeah, for me, for the incubus and succubus, they visit through sex. Remember I said there are different demonic activities, but this one now is the specific one.
Yeah.
They'll come and violate you. They come and some of them get an entitlement of, it's like they owe you. You can't even get married. By the time, like for this lady,
Yeah.
she even said it's like they got spiritual children.
Yes.
She will sleep at night and see children coming and they want to take milk. And sometimes she will feel very weak. So all her dreams were like fighting. And one day she was in a relationship which was almost maturing into marriage. And she began to feel suicide. And she told the guy, me, I don't even know why I'm alive. You know, I just feel like committing suicide. So the guy felt, and the way I'm full of life, why am I planning life with a person who's suicidal? So the relationship broke.
Ended. Yeah.
And so at night she went into prayer and she was asking what's happening. She couldn't understand. And that night there was a visitation of the demon. And she heard a voice clearly. And she saw something like the form of the demon. And the demon said, I own you. I own you. You are mine. You can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
So she understood. So all along, the reason why I'll begin relationship and they will not mature
Yes.
is because there was this demonic claim and this soul tie. And what she shared was, anytime she slept with this demon, there was a form of comfort. Like she will break up, the demon will come, you know, in the dreams, and then in the morning she'll feel like, oh, oops, there's a relief. So it's like there was a false comfort concerning this particular demonic visitation. And there are many people who are bound. For it to mature to a level of spiritual husbands and spiritual wives, it means the visits are intensive. Science will call it wet dreams. That's what science will call it. Because that science will try to give it a name. And they will justify they come when you're in puberty. And you have to understand that it is in puberty when now you are sexually active and also sexually productive. These things cannot come before you enter puberty. And it is in puberty where now slowly even your purpose begins to get definition. It is a place of a lot of self-discovery. So, and it's also a place where strange doors are open. They say a standard boy, majority of the young people masturbate between the age of 15 to 19. So it looks like majority, that's the age. So it looks like that's the initiation and the recruitment age. So it's a very technical thing. But there is a way out, because the fact that you are there, I told you the Bible is a story of victory and winning and rulership.
What's the way out?
The way out is very simple. Number one, locate the gate. If there is a gate you participated in opening, you must pray for grace to close that gate. Forgive people. Bitterness is the root, not just of even incubus, is the root of most of the demonic attacks. Bitterness and forgiveness is an open gate for any demonic attack. Locate the gate. I've mentioned several. Locate the gate and deal with that gate. Secondly, anytime there is a visitation of that demon, wake up and denounce it. You see, for you to divorce, you must speak words. If I was to divorce my wife, we'll be called to the AG and I'll say, do you agree that she's no longer your wife? And I'll say, yes, I agree. She's no longer my wife. Why? I am canceling the vow. So what I need to do when I sense a visitation, wake up and just say, Father, I eliminate anything that this demon wanted to deposit in me. It's also important to pray before you sleep. You know these prayers of we cover ourselves with the blood of Jesus, the hedge of the fire. You know, they look very casual.
To be honest, they look casual.
Yes, they look very casual. And people pray, Father, the hedge of the fire, the blood of Jesus, amen. But I tell you, when you have understanding, it is that blood and the hedge that protects men at night from any form of attack. So that's why it's good to intercede even before you sleep and even pray. I always, when we pray at night, I always tell my wife, let's pray for dreams that come from God. And above all, interpretation. Let's not just dream and ask ourselves, what does that mean? So that we know this is of God, so that we have dreams and interpretation. There also need to be a life of sanctity. You just need to live right. Righteousness is a key that eliminates so many demonic attacks. You just need to live right. The other thing is, anytime you go for long fastings, make sure you have a covering. You know, just speak to someone who's above you spiritually, let them cover you. Let them speak over your life so that there will be no any kind of gates. What people don't know, when you fast for long, you ascend in the realm of the spirit, and the first thing you meet there is the demonic entity. There are people who fast and get attacks. There's even a guy who was in a prayer mountain na tulimtoa hospitali na alihave kuombewa akatolewa pepo na alikuwa naomba. So he ascended in a level. The first thing he received was attack. So it's good to tell people just to cover you. And above all, if it has reached to a place of spiritual husbands and wife, the Bible says the anointing breaks the yoke. You just need to look for an anointed man of God and share and allow him to pray with you. Because there's a level of combat that might be above you. You might need a higher grace for it to deal with. And many have been delivered. The lady I just shared a story, she's now happily married and settled. That thing left completely. So there's victory and there's deliverance.
There's victory. Another argument that was raised forward, especially when Veni said she would masturbate. I remember I saw someone say it's good to masturbate because once you masturbate, it prevents you from cheating on your wife, cheating on your husband. What's the argument in that?
Number one, I'll say the definition of masturbation is self-indulgence. And anyone that masturbates, they are responding to an appetite. It's an appetite you're responding to. And that is lust. And what we need to know is that there is a legal dimension of lust. Lust is a legal appetite. Because why am I saying that? The sexual desires were not put in you by the devil. Those desires were put in by God. But the moment they are met in an unbiblical way, now that is lust. That's why lust will want you to meet that desire in an unbiblical way. You know, and this is the door of perversion. And so what happens is that anyone masturbating, number one is that they don't have self-control. You know, we are not animals. We have control.
Yes.
We don't respond to instincts. That's the difference between, we are in the classification of mammals, but we are not mammals. We're just in that nomenclature classification,
Yes.
biologically.
Yeah.
But there is something in man that is above the animal kingdom. So there is a control in man
Yeah.
that can make him control. You know, it's as simple as even the normal operation of life. Someone will feel like going to the toilet and they can control for a while and still go. It tells you there is a system in man that can enhance control. Masturbation, apparently, in medical journals, it is praised. And the reality is most of the doctors masturbate.
And they say it's healthy.
So they say it's healthy. But what people don't know, most of the people who masturbate have underlying factors that trigger masturbation. One of them is always low self-esteem. It's an esteem issue. You can't relate with people of the opposite sex. It's a whole journey.
Yes.
So you are dealing with an underlying psychological issue, but the way you are expressing yourself is totally different. Like some of us, we grew in boys' schools.
Yeah.
Me, I grew from class 4 all the way to Form 4. No interaction with ladies. The first time I saw ladies was in campus, and I was confused. The first lady who said hi, I knew this is my girlfriend. You know, the whole of my life was a mess.
Yeah.
Psychologically, I was messed up. I didn't know how to relate with women
Yeah.
because you've grown in this masculine society.
Yeah.
And most of the people who are victims of masturbation, there is an underlying issue that they are not addressing. They are either bitter, they are either afraid of pregnancy, afraid of heartbreaks. They are either with low self-esteem, they can't approach a lady. Because there's a whole psychology about it. Someone will go, take a photo of a lady,
Yeah.
and then master the photo, then masturbate with that lady at night.
Yes.
So automatically it's like they're having sex with that lady. So there is no contact. You can't say hi. So that's the underlying issue.
Yeah.
So that person will praise masturbation because at the end of the day, it is a cover-up to the underlying issue. One of the things is that in all this self-indulgence, we have to identify what is the underlying issue. And I've mentioned one is self-esteem. There could be many. One is self-esteem. People who grew without approval. Let me tell you, the presence of a man in your life, or even men in your life, whether you are dating them or not, there is a form of esteem boost that it gives you. You know, just knowing if today in the office that there is no one who talks to you of the opposite sex,
Yeah.
you'll begin to ask,
What's
is it that
wrong
I'm
with me?
ugly?
Yes.
So that presence of people of the opposite sex, just general interaction will always boost the esteem. And there are people who don't have it. You may think they are focused and serious, but they are so low, and it may have a lot of connection with how they were brought up. There's also the place of fear. The place of fear. And this one, I have to address it.
Please go on.
Some of us, when we were raised up, our parents were so tough. And guess what they told us? Staki mimba hapa.
Ndi ukweli.
Na sitaki kukuona na kijana.
Na nikuone siku moja
Na nikuone
utajua.
siku moja.
Yes.
And you knew how tough your mom was. And at that young subconscious mind, fear was invested. And then as you are growing, you discover you have this sexual urge. Nobody taught you about self-control.
Yeah.
So someone introduced masturbation. So you got a way of relieving the urge without disappointing your parents. So you never get pregnant. You'll never get HIV. You'll never get
Exactly.
STI.
Yes.
They call it safe sex, quote unquote.
Yes.
It's safe sex.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, so you grew with that fear and you didn't want to disappoint anyone. But right now, it's no longer a fear, it's a lifestyle that keeps on robbing your dignity. The other underlying factor, it's perversion. It's just perversion. You know, it's just perversion. And this perversion has a gate. Most of the people that were initiated into masturbation were also initiated into pornography. I was introduced into pornography when I was in class 4. I was in a boarding school. So my class 8 walikuwa na baki chuo. Wanakaa huko nyuma na mimi nabaki nao because I was a big boy. Nabaki nao. So I didn't know what they were remaining to do in the DH.
Yes.
Until one night I saw guys watching porn. I tell you, I left that place feeling pathetic. At class 4, my mom will not even have assumed that I even know these things.
Oh, you even know how a woman looks like.
Yes, I was an angel, young, innocent, and all those things.
Yeah.
But at class 4, a door was open of perversion and pornography as young as class 4. And by the time I was in Form 2, I knew all the porn suppliers in my area.
Hey.
And then, by mistake, our dad gave us like a small set of TV. Now we have our crib and all that. So there was survival.
Yeah.
And I tell you, this thing was so chaotic. Because now it's like you already recruited.
Yeah.
You don't know out. Because when you got in, it was teamwork. But now you are left alone.
You are an individual.
And there are many people recruited today through, all the music we are seeing. All the, the current gangaton is nothing but sexualized. And we've seen the data. You've seen the number of teen pregnancy.
Yeah.
Of course, it's inflated, but it's a reality.
Yeah.
And what else would you expect when all this? You see the nonsense of Nyonga Fest. People even now.
Nyonga, I was going to ask you Nyonga because I saw Kunyonga sai. It's because I went
glorified.
And did a bit of research about it.
Yes.
Na Kunyonga, it's masturbation.
Yes.
And people are openly talking about it.
And I'll tell you, people are not openly talking about it because they want. It is a cry of, hey guys, help us. We are stuck. This thing is there. It's a reality in our society.
Yeah.
So
it's a cry for help.
Yes, people are putting a cool face, but deep down guys are crashing. Because anytime a person masturbates, they feel empty. They feel a void. They feel desperate. They feel they can't face that person on the mirror.
Yes.
There's a place they feel, man, I wish I can stop this thing. Because it drains you.
Yeah.
The first thing it does is that it drains you spiritually. You can't even pray. You can't even commune with God. And I tell you, spiritual health is very key for day-to-day operation. You'll find people who are healthy physically, healthy socially, but sick spiritually. And these are the people you'll find in a bar. They have a V8, well-paying salary, sitting there drowning in alcohol because they're not healthy spiritually. They may not know it, but it's a faculty in them that has to be healthy also.
Yes.
And this is now, where people have things, but they have no peace.
Yeah.
Because this thing drains you spiritually.
Yes.
It reduces what I may call your decency. Because it doesn't respect rank. You might be a CEO but stuck. And sometimes the fact that you have this big office, deep down you feel you don't have the decency of life. Because for me, it's the unnatural way of addressing this appetite.
Okay.
So it's in the perversion level. And anything that is not inclined with the formation of humanity will always make you feel like you're not in the lane of humanity. So it deprives you the joy and the peace of life. It makes you feel miserable. It makes you feel, just wasted.
Useless.
Useless at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And it's a reality in our time.
Okay.
It has to be addressed.
It has to be addressed. And
there's no shortcut to it. There's no shortcut to it.
God.
One of the remedies is that you have to create a culture of praying for 1 hour.
Yeah.
Because you have to conquer the flesh. It's an appetite of the flesh. You have to conquer the flesh. And it can be so addictive in a way you can get married and not get satisfied with your wife.
Yeah.
Because it's so addictive. It's a quick fix. Lust wants sex, but sex does not sort lust. It's a paradox. So at the end of the day, for me, I think is identify the underlying issues. Is it fear? Is it self-esteem? Is it lack of approval?
Is it witchcraft?
Yeah, is it witchcraft?
Yeah.
Are you running away from people?
Yeah.
Masturbation is a product of atmospheres also. Most of the people who masturbate are loners. They don't like people in their crowds because they have a crowd they will invite at some time.
Yeah.
So most of them, they don't have a social life. They're always in their houses watching movies. And there are people who have mastered the art to a point of, it's like there's a time clock. Ikifika time flani, it's like the urge is so much.
Yes.
It's like it's so much in their system that it must happen. The way out for me is simple. You'll never see coconut growing in Kericho. So be aware of the atmosphere. Hauwezi kuwa unasikizanga mamziki flani za ufala the whole night. Na una expect it will not attack you. Make sure that your social life is improved. Get friends. endeni watch ball. You know, this is the social life. Endeni watch ball, scream, shout, shindweni, chongwaneni hapo, enda home.
Good.
Go home tired, enroll into a gym, burn the excess energy. Make sure by the time you go home you are tired, because it's just the flesh.
Because it will only attack you when you are idle.
Yes, it's a product of idleness. Watch the atmosphere. And then for believers, these are secret. Make sure that every day you pray for 1 hour. And those who pray in tongues for 1 hour every day. That's what Jesus said. Can't you just study for an hour that you may overcome temptation? 1 hour prayer will help men overcome temptations. And you just need to build. If you are serious, you just need to build that culture.
Yeah.
It has worked. It has worked for me. Yes.
And it's something that works.
It
it's
works.
tested and it
Yeah,
works.
it works.
So we just have to commit.
Yes.
And you have to understand you have a problem.
Yes.
And you have to acknowledge.
And it's a
I'm
journey.
fighting. Let me ask you, Pastor
Yes.
T, why is it that does these demons give people the spirit of fear? In a way, these topics are not easily accessible to anyone. Because I know we are sitting here talking about spirit wives, husbands, and
Yes.
masturbation,
Yes.
but you won't hear these topics as much as you hear other topics. Is there something in between why people don't get to hear these topics often?
2 things.
Yeah.
Number 1, you can't address what you're a victim of. So if I'm a victim, I lose the authority to address that issue. The reason why most of the people don't have the authority to address sexual issues is because they are victims of the same. So they lose the moral authority. The second thing, these are like new devils. Even my if I tell my mother about masturbation, she will not understand.
Good.
Because in their generation, they didn't deal with it.
Yes.
So these are new devils. So people are caught in it, and they've never, they are caught in it, but the Bible does not give a definite answer. You will not hear anywhere in the Bible, thou shalt not masturbate. It's not directly mentioned. But the Bible speaks about, let even not an idea of sin be found in you. And it talks about all these other things. Because the greatest sexual organ is your head. If only you can change your head, you'll change so many things.
Yeah.
So these are, for me, are like the 21st century devils. And so God has to bring 21st century solutions, because even their entrance is through the mobile phones, the gadgets and all those. They get amplified through such avenues. So we need to now come up with voices and practical things that can happen. Yes.
Okay, lovely. Finally, anyone who is struggling with this,
Yes.
all these demons and devils and all this, the fear, what message do you have to them? And even these people now who are advocating for Nyonga Fest.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the truth. Anyone advocating for Nyonga Fest, I want to believe majority of them are part of it. It is the cry. Have you ever realized that there are people who used to praise sex because they were victims, and they will make virgins look like they are useless? In high school, their guys will be,
I have heard that a couple of times.
Nini. But
Yeah.
when you look deep down, they're amplifying a cry in their heart. So they really want to be like you, but they know this is a non-reversus issue.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. Most of the people amplifying it, majority of them, there's a cry that they are passing, and they need help. They need to be helped. And I hope they will watch and just get help.
Yes.
What else do you ask?
I just wanted you to give someone advice, someone who is struggling with this. And
This is what I'll say.
Yeah.
People can walk with you, but nobody will ever walk you out of your addiction. You must be intentional. You must be deliberate. There is action for deliverance. And number 2, always focus on the positive steps that you make. Like masturbation will be a journey. You might begin today, fall after 3 days. Don't focus on the 1 day you fell. Focus on the 3 days you succeeded. So let your motivation be on the days you are strong, not the days you are weak. And it's a step at a time. And finally, and this one I'll share very personal level.
Please.
For me to be delivered from pornography and all that, hizo zilikuwa zile days za matape. Nilichukuanga zote, nikarusha choo. Nilikuwa nimeombewa, nikachoka. So there is a place of prayer, there is a place of action. Kaa hizi hii kitu inakukalia, nunua kabambe, wachana na smartphone, kaa nayo miezi 3. There is sacrifice. There is no freedom without sacrifice. If you really want it, you'll get the motivation to sacrifice. And above all, the grace of God is sufficient to keep you.
Yeah.
Yes.
The grace of God is
Yes.
sufficient.
Yes.
I know you have amazing sermons online.
Yes.
I was lucky enough to tune in when you were live the other day, and I loved the sermon.
Wow.
So where can people find you?
Oh, my on Facebook, I'm Pastor Tim Mwangi, and we always have Bible studies Monday to Friday, from 8 to 9 every day, taking advantage of this COVID. But that's my passion. On Instagram, Twitter, everywhere is Pastor Tim Mwangi. Even on YouTube, just look for Pastor Tim Mwangi. You'll get a lot of amazing messages.
Yes. Thank you so much,
Wow,
Pastor Tim.
thank you.
Honestly, I know this is the first time
Yes.
you are here at
Yes.
Tuko,
Yes.
but I look forward to having you here more often,
Wow, thank
so
you.
we can even educate people.
Yeah.
Because I really want to use this sermon so that people can get something out of it. Not just stories, but someone can take something home.
That's true.
So thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
I really do appreciate.
Thank you.
Yeah, and if you've watched us today, let us know what you think about this topic. If there's something I'm taking home with me, is you have to be intentional and deliberate to fight whatever it is that you are going through. You want to share your story? Our email is on the description box. Till next time, my name is Lynn Goge.